There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. What's good, fam? We made it to lesson 48 of A Course in Miracles, and we are going to understand why there is simply nothing to fear. That's all fear is nothing, because remember, only love exists. Everything other than love is simply an illusion which we can tune into at any moment if we desire to. Just like how you go to a scary movie. You go to the scary movie because you know that you're not actually in the movie and you're not going to be harmed at all, but you go for the fear. You go for the scare. You go for the thrill. That's why we go to roller coasters. We go on roller coasters because when we're at the top and we feel like we're falling, it gives us that exhilaration. It's scary, but we get off and it was fun and we want to do it again. And that's kind of what is happening right here and now. Me and you are in these bodies right now, but remember, we are not these bodies, and we are here in this world, and we believe that there is really, really something to fear, and there simply is not. We came because we enjoy the feeling of being able to mold the clay and knowing what we don't want, so that way we give birth to the desire of what we do want. And so much of us are doing that all the time because we cannot help but do that. But then instead of focusing on what we do want and giving all our undivided attention to that, because me and you are creators with this powerful tool of mind which is untrained, we give all of our attention to the fear, the stuff we don't want, and we build on that by our attention to it, and we build more and more and more, and things play out in our world that are so fearful. And there's nothing wrong with that, but understanding that there is nothing to fear, because although to the individuals who are identifying themselves with the ego, which is me at some points in time, which is most likely you at some point in time, and which is what most of the world, pretty much all of the world, is doing. If you're in a body, you most likely forgot the information that we're discussing here today. And this is why it's important for us to remember that there is simply, once again, nothing to fear. Think of this world that we're living in like a movie, it's like a play. And we came to experience the play and watch the movie and experience the happiness and the fear and the worry and the doubt and the love and the happiness. But at the end of the day, it is all one, and what is all encompassing can have no opposite. Therefore, only love exists. And we have to remember that although we go to the scary movie and we watch it, we are aware that we're going for that reason. And we were aware that we were coming to live in these bodies for the time being, to experience all this diversity that the world has to offer. But while being here, me and you forgot that we were doing so. So now we believe that there really is something to fear. And we are going to understand right now, as we dive into this lesson, why that simply is not so. Only love exists. The situations that we are feeling fearful about, or worry, or doubt, or anger, or powerless, or insecure, or judgmental, jealousy. There's so many different types of words that we could use for the forms that fear may take, but every single one of them is simply of our own making. And just as quickly as we made it and we perceive it out there outside, we can remove it completely from our awareness, and then we will see a reflection of what fearlessness looks like, which is our natural state of being, which is who you really are, love and light, who I really am, love and light, and who the people that I don't like are really are. They are love and light. And in any moment I don't see that light in someone else, I can be sure in that moment that I am identifying myself as the ego, with the ego who looks to other egos so that way it can perpetuate and justify its own existence. but the ego is a form of fear, which is simply not there. And me and you have done so great for the past 48 days, understanding that what we are seeing out there is really a projection of what is within us. And remember, only love and light abides within us. Everything else is of our own making, and it's blocking us from perceiving the love and light that we are. And because we are light, we are projecting all the stuff that we believe is within us out there on the world. Now, before we begin, I just want to use this analogy again. I'm going to bring back the little trusty light. If you know, you know. So I'm taking this paper right here, okay? Now, this light is what me and you are. Pure, infinite. We are forever extending. We are creators, powerful. We are eternal, infinite. We are love, light, all of these perfection attributes. And we share those because God created us and He created us in His image. Now, me and you are here. We got in these bodies. We forgot that we were this because we grew up around people who knew the lack of this world. So now, me and you still are this. We cannot help but be this. And light is invulnerable and indestructible, and we can never do anything to harm who we really are. But as long as we are thinking we are this body, we think that we are capable of being harmed. We think that we are capable of lacking something. We think that whatever it is that you may think, those insane thoughts that are not really there, I have them too. But because I've been doing this workbook for the past 48 days with you, I have released all of that. And now I have returned to who I really am. And I have high confidence in you that you have done that as well. So look, because there's brown junk that is in my mind, the light, which I am, is kind of projecting out there. And instead of me projecting this light onto the things that I see in this world, I'm using a speaker, instead of me projecting this light on this person and this event and circumstance and seeing it for what it really is, which is just all part of the oneness, the play, I am seeing a distorted picture, which is of my own making. And now I'm perceiving this gloomy brown cloud over everything, and that can be translated into worry, doubt, and fear. But the only reason why I see brown and the worry and doubt and fear out there in people, situations, circumstances, events, finances, relationships, whatever it may be, the only reason why I see that fear out there is because it is in my awareness. But the moment, which me and you are doing now, that we remove this by remembering who we really are, we unlearn this junk and we return to this perception. And whenever we are this perception, which I believe me and you are at right now, we know that there is nothing to fear. So let's go ahead and dive straight into this lesson. Go ahead and pull up to lesson 48. You already know what to do. And if you don't got the book yet, go ahead and pull up the PDF, which is in the description. And let's read this together. It's a very short lesson. Lesson 48 of A Course in Miracles. There is nothing to fear. The idea for today simply states a fact. It is not a fact to those who believe in illusions, but illusions are not facts. In truth, there is nothing to fear. It is very easy to recognize this, but it is very difficult to recognize it for those who want illusions to be true. Today's practice periods will be very short, very simple, and very frequent. Merely repeat the idea as often as possible. You can use it with your eyes open at any time in any situation. It is strongly recommended, however, that you take a minute or so, whenever possible, to close your eyes and repeat the idea slowly to yourself several times. It is particularly important that you use the idea immediately should anything disturb your peace of mind. The presence of fear is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength. The awareness that there is nothing to fear shows that somewhere in your mind, though not necessarily in a place you recognize as yet, you have remembered God and let His strength take the place of your weakness. The instant you are willing to do this, there is indeed nothing to fear. And if we go to yesterday's lesson, The lesson was, God is the strength in which I trust. We are trusting that there is nothing to fear. And it's going to require some trust until we truly know that. So, like I said, very short lesson today. And I'm just gonna show this cover, this beautiful, powerful book right here. This is the way to go, and there is no the way. I'm just stating that because this is the way that helped me out the most. But wow, this book has nothing but bars in it, and the bar that we are going to remember for today is, there is nothing to fear. Remember, the repetition is very important. Set a reminder on your phone, set an alarm for as frequent as possible until you remember to do it without even needing an alarm, but just repeat today's idea to yourself all the time throughout the day, as frequent as possible. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. Whenever you come across a situation and you fall asleep and you remember that you're sleeping, say, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. And although in that moment, while we're sleeping, saying these words, we're not going to fully believe it at first, because we are down here at that moment in time, and there is nothing to fear is knowledge that's on this frequency. So this may be a very large jump, but being aware that there's nothing to fear is the first step in helping us elevate to back to this state that is natural. There is nothing to fear. One more time, there is nothing to fear. That will be all for today. Very short lesson, and I will see you tomorrow for lesson 49 of A Course in Miracles.